I'm Shea Hess, and on this episode, wine isn't just for sipping.
First, we stop at Blue Angel, where we learn which wines are best for both drinking and cooking. Then, it's down the street to a local Brooklyn bistro whose coq au vin recipe is so authentically French it will have you saying, mais oui. Finally, it's back to the kitchen for a one-pot stovetop version perfect for a cold fall evening. Located in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, Blue Angel focuses primarily on small vineyards, seasonal, and organic wines. Owner and buyer Kim Apotas is here to give us a lesson in cooking with wine.
What is your favorite wine to cook with?
It really depends on the meal. A lot of times I like to saute with crisp light whites. When you start getting into more heavier stews and using a lot of meats and doing a lot of braising, I say always go for red wines.
What are some of the ones to stay away from then?
I would say you should stay away from oaky or reds like Riojas are hard to cook with, and then sometimes Bordeaux are a little bit like too closed and too tannic for cooking. You want something a little bit on the softer. Even a Côte de Rhône is a really nice red wine to cook with.
Okay, so something that seems light and a little bit fruity.
Exactly.
As far as cooking with wine goes, is it necessary to buy a really nice bottle of wine?
If you're going to use a lot of the wine, say half a bottle or so, you really could get something that's going to taste good, but it really doesn't have to be expensive. But if you're going to use maybe like a little bit of it, maybe you want something a little bit nicer because then you can enjoy it with dinner as well.
Can you explain the difference between biodynamic and organic wines?
First of all, there are two types of organic wines now on the market. There are certified organic wines, which are certified by our government. Basically, the farmer has to go through a lot of processes, a lot of forms, pay a lot of money. So a lot of these farmers opt for just to be practicing organic, which of course it's not going to say in the label, and you really do have to trust your purveyor as well as the importer of the wines. And then biodynamic goes into a whole other crazy realm that they really do follow the patterns of the moon, and it's all about kind of going along with the earth and how they're growing the wines, when they're picking the wines, when they're even stirring the wines, when they're in the vats.
Is it important to support small vineyards?
Oh, definitely. These are struggling farmers. They're making beautiful wines, and in order to keep their traditions going, I think it's really important for us to really support them, because a lot of these larger corporations are coming in and trying to take over the lands in all different countries. And I think, with our help and, just buying and learning more about these vineyards, it will really help keep the traditions going.
Next up, Le Barricou, a traditional French bistro that incorporates well-sourced ingredients into their classically French dishes. Owner and managing partner Josh Boissy is here to give us the lowdown on their always popular coq au vin.
The word coq means the rooster in French, so traditionally it would have been made with roosters. It has definitely evolved over time into a chicken dish. And the dish was kind of based on having this simple dish that you could cook affordably, use the products that you had readily available. Like if I'm a winemaker in Burgundy, I would take the roosters running around, take the wine that I couldn't sell, and then cook it down slowly, reducing all of the wine and creating this really nice kind of a stew. Traditionally it'd be with the red wine, but you could use white or red. If you were in Champagne, maybe they would use Champagne. If you were in Alsace, they might use the Riesling. Or if you're in Burgundy, they would probably use Pinot Noir. We use red Burgundy wine. It's not an expensive wine, but for cooking, that's really all you would need.
Josh then gives us a crash course on how to prepare this tasty dish.
So you'd start off with the thighs and legs of the free-range chickens. It's normally used with dark meat. It's seasoned with fresh peppercorns, bay leaves, rosemary, garlic, thyme, and then it's put into the walk-in cooler for anywhere from 3 to 4 days. After it's been marinated, you would take all of the chicken out, then you would take a large pot or pan, put olive oil in the pan, let it heat up, start smoking, take the pieces of chicken, let them cook just to brown them and give them a nice color, and you would kind of cook the stock down to reduce the amount of liquid in it by half. Throw it in the oven for 3 to 4 hours, depending on how much time and space you have. The longer the better. When you open the oven after 4 hours, the chicken's gonna be falling off the bone. You're gonna have a really nice dark color, almost like that perfect stew. It's all time, that's really all it is. You could take the most inexpensive chicken, the most inexpensive wine, and some celery, carrots, and some herbs, and make an amazing coq au vin.
Josh gave us some great tips on how to make an authentic coq au vin. So what we're gonna do is make a one-pot version of this dish that's ready in just a couple hours. So I have 4 ounces of chopped bacon here that I have sauteed in a cast iron pot, and I'm just removing them from the pan with a slotted spoon so that I can use that bacon fat to sear my chicken. What I have here is an entire pastured chicken that I had my butcher quarter for me. And so what I need to do now is liberally salt and pepper it. And now I'm just gonna dredge it in flour on both sides and put it right in my hot bacon fat. And that's gonna keep the skin really crispy. You wanna do about 4 minutes on each side. And make sure not to overcrowd your pan. It's really important to look for pasture-raised chicken, not only because it's better for you and the chicken, but also because coq au vin was originally made with roosters, which were gamier. Since pastured chickens spend their days running around and pecking for their food, they have a leaner, gamier taste, so it'll be more authentic. So while my last batch is crisping up, I'm going to finish up my vegetables. I already have 1 onion, 1 shallot, and 1 carrot chopped and ready to go. And now I have 2 ribs of celery and 4 cloves of garlic. Now that my chicken's all done, I'm just going to add a little bit more olive oil to the pan, and it's time to add the vegetables. Add a nice pinch of salt. I'm also going to add 1 bay leaf and a bundle of thyme and rosemary. Meanwhile, I'm going to chop my mushrooms. I have a ½ pound of creminis here, and we're just going to quarter them. Now, Josh didn't have these in his coq au vin, but there are regions where mushrooms are really popular. So if you love mushrooms like I do, go for it. So the other thing that makes this dish really authentic are pearl onions. I've got about 20 of them here, and I'm going to add them along with my cremini mushrooms. If you're making this ahead of time, save the mushrooms and pearl onions for the day you serve it. That way they won't get soggy. And now for the main attraction, the wine. This is a Cheverny that Kim recommended, which is a Pinot Noir Gamay blend. And it's really light and fruity, and it's gonna be awesome in this dish. And now just about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste to thicken it into a stew. Give that a good stir, incorporate that all in. So now it's time to place the chicken back in. Top it off with our reserved bacon, and now just enough chicken stock to cover the top of the chicken. And last but not least, my not so authentic ingredient, potatoes. I'm gonna add these to the pot, and they'll soak up all the flavors of the wine and the herbs and the chicken and be so delicious, you won't have to go to the trouble of making mashed potatoes. So now that this is simmering, I'm just gonna turn this down to medium-low, partially cover it, and just let it hang out for an hour and a half. It's time to check on my coq au vin. It's beautiful. The liquid has reduced by half, the chicken looks tender and delicious, and it smells amazing. Only thing to do now is plate it up. Get some of the goodness. Beautiful leg and thigh combo. Et voila! A taste of France in my Brooklyn apartment, and it's all thanks to wine. For more information and today's recipe, visit hungryin brooklyn.com. It's delicious.